Hey guys, Dan Chan here. I want to start a new series on crafting and hopefully work all the way up to masterwork and kind of give people an idea what it's like, why it's so challenging, why so many people who are actually doing masterwork will encourage you not to do it. I'll go into that later in the series, but for now, let's start out with gold producing and why I recommend crafting potions rather than crafting these leather visors and stuff. And leather visors are the cheapest thing that you can craft. There might be other things that someone could argue that are less expensive, but you can buy leather from a vendor. I don't craft it. You're wasting more time in the crafting room crafting this stuff than it's worth just when you can just buy the materials from the vendor and then just craft stuff here. I recommend against doing it this way because if you have a lot of characters, crafting things that take 5 morale each and that fill up your inventory quickly, it's just going to add an immense amount of time to your day just doing tedious, mind-numbing stuff. And then when you have more than one workshop, you just multiply that a million times. You want something that doesn't add a lot of time. With potions, they stack. They stack you can get them in stacks of 99. And once you've got your flow going here, you've got the right artisans. This is a pretty seamless process. You're going to create, depending on your artisan, you're either going to let me show you what I've got here. It's a rank 3 workshop, but which means I could get epic, or not epic, but rare artisans, the blue ones. But unfortunately, I haven't got lucky enough yet on this workshop to do that. So I'm using the best I have, which is Saren for potions. She is a minus 25% speed, but she's also minus 50% on cost. The Virtuoso special skill is not going to come in handy because I don't use any supplements. No point using supplements for this. Alright, so it takes one of each of these. Spring water you gather, honey you craft, and wintergreen you craft. And so I have 2 other artisans to do the other 2 tasks. You notice I have favorites set up. I'm going to point this out because it took me years to realize this was here, and I was always jumping over here and trying to go back and forth to make sure that everything was in here, and when you change characters, it doesn't necessarily take you to the thing you were looking at before, so you can't, every day I was like, I have to keep jumping back over to that. When I finally realized this was here, like, light bulb. But anyway, so set these up. All you got to do is you go to whatever task it is, right click on it, and then just, I'm going to remove it, but yeah, mark as favorite, and then it'll show up in your favorites menu. So there you go. And then if you put on like Potion of Healing here, I can tell, hey, I've got 869 water, that's plenty for now. If it drops down to like 100 or so, then I'll go ahead and put a delivery task up for one of my delivery folks to pick it up. The reason I don't just have that going all the time is because the delivery box the space is limited. Once it fills up, if you still have tasks going like gathering or crafting, if the box is full and those tasks get completed, well, basically nothing goes anywhere. So you've lost the resource. You don't get it later. It's just gone. Well, sorry, that's probably not the right way to put it. Once the task starts, now I don't have anything going at the moment because I wanted to show everything how this works. But if this delivery box is entirely full, and you are, your task continuing, you get charged for every single item that is currently in process. So that those wintergreen sprigs that I have being gathered, if the box is full, the next time that it goes to do its thing, to do its calculations, it's going to charge me for that wintergreen, even though it's not going to deliver it. It's going to basically recharge me. But I'm kind of enough on that. I will jump over to my spreadsheet in a sec here, kind of give you an idea what you want to look for. So if you have a rank 2 workshop, you only have 18 slots in the delivery box. So this is the amount of time it would take to overfill it, basically. So you have 9 hours of time before it's going to completely fill. If the only thing you're doing is crafting honey, wintergreen, the potion, and you're gathering wintergreen sprigs. Now, if you add anything else to that, like you're adding beehive chips to craft honey, you're adding water because you're low on that, then those are going to add more time to this. I don't have extra sheets in here for that. I just try to take that as it is, as it comes. Just kind of make a consideration that that's going to use up a few extra spots, so that box is going to fill up a little bit faster. So if you're one of those folks that can be fully refreshed and have time in the morning to go 9 hours with your rank 2 workshop, overnight, get your sleep, and then get first thing in the morning, get up, empty the box, great. If you're kind of a person that like you need to sleep as much as possible and then rush off to work right afterwards once you get your shower and everything, you probably don't have time to open up the box. So you're looking at maybe 16 hours or so before you're going to get back to the workbox. So just keep that in mind. The whole point of this process here initially with the making potions or making whatever you're making is to optimize making a profit. All right. If you're filling up the box, well, you've stopped making a profit, plus you're losing money because you're losing resources that were paid for, but you're not getting a product for them. So just keep that in mind. So rank 3, that's when you are level 15 and your artisans are at least level 15, and you've ranked up to rank 3. Then that means you have 24 spots in your workbox. So this would be red here. Let's see if I want to put that. So that means I'm full. I'm over full. This is the most time I have. 11 hours. 11 hours sounds like a lot, but it just depends if you want to add other stuff onto it. And again, this is with specific artisans. This isn't the ideal set, honestly. Unkra is actually better at honey, and I'll show you that in a second. James will take them off the list. This is the ideal spot here. Although Youngrick is only really an option, I think, for a rank 4 workshop because he is fast. He is super fast, and he's kind of more rare too. Unkra you'll probably get fairly early on because she is, again, not an epic artisan. She's just common. Killage is rare, and Alend is common, I think, as well. Latoto is rare. So Latoto is generally the one you want on wintergreen. Youngrick, again, only for rank 4. At rank 3, you want to use Unkra. Let me see, do I have Unkra? I'm not showing Unkra on time here, but if I were to put Unkra on here, so Unkra takes, let's jump back to the game. Let's put Unkra on honey here. So Unkra drops it down to 1 hour and 20 minutes. Let's go over here. So we put James's 96, we go 80 for Unkra, and then we go Latoto, and we say Latoto is 102 minutes. All right, now we're looking at significantly faster. So now instead of filling up our 24 spots at 12 hours, we're filling it up at 10. It's totally full at 10. So you want to empty it before 10. This is the idea behind it. You can see the formulas up here if you want to mess with something like this kind of table. The formulas here. We're just taking the number of minutes that the game is showing me that they take. What I do have here is, I think, a pretty good formula for it, which is basically just put the minutes in that it takes, and then kind of figure out how many you would have in an hour and 2 hours and 3 hours until you get to the point where the box is full. The reason I round up on all these formulas is because a partial item in the box is still taking up a space. So this is why you wouldn't want super fast people doing potions, in addition to the fact that you don't have any super fast ones that are cost effective in alchemy. If I put Youngrick on potions, yeah, I could create them very fast, but he has no cost reducing factor. He's more of a miracle worker, so he can make a lot, but you're losing, you're not saving money, and you fill the box up so quick that it would actually be probably full before you get up in the morning, and then you've wasted even more money on that. So just a thought. All right, let's go back to the game. What you want to do to start out with. All right, so you want to focus on trying to get the right artisans. You want to focus on building up your alchemy skill. So how do you do that? Well, the artisans you don't have a lot of choice on, but one thing I will say that I've kind of stressed in videos before, to get applications, I don't have any to show you right now, I think, because I believe I've already looked. Yeah, I've already looked for the day. To get applications, you have to go into the workshop. You want to do the highest level task that you can do if you're leveling. So if you have a crafter capable of has the proficiency to craft something like this, it's more effective to do it, even though it's more than twice the morale cost. It's more effective to do something that's higher tier, because you're getting more experience for it. If you want to go for the highest tier task that you can do, that's relatively that's within a reasonable proficiency rate, that you're not going to fail all the time. Anyway, you want the best tool you can get, at least sufficient to do the job, and the highest tier task if you're leveling up. Once you get one character that has the blacksmithing or whatever other skills maxed out, so that you can craft stuff like that, do that. But on the first character, if this is the first time you're building it up and you don't have a way to craft your own tools, go buy them from do the expense and buy them from the auction house. You just go to profession, go to tool, and then just type in what level you're looking for. This is one thing you can do later on, is if you want to generate AD, you make tools, and you don't just have to do the top tier tools. I mean, let's see, let's get rid of this, and we'll go with, say, even like mithril tools. They sell for a few thousand AD each. Even ash tools. Look at that. Ash is stuff that you can buy from the vendor. Just for grins, we can even see people selling worn stuff for several hundred AD. You know what's hilarious about that? That's free. It's right over here, just right against the workbench. People will just take these. They're unbound till you equip them, and then they'll sell them in the auction house. Don't do that, guys. Alright, so what else? Craft your own tools. If you can't craft them, buy them. Buy the plus ones. It's worth the extra cost, unless they're tremendously expensive. And then once you've leveled up the professions that can craft those materials for you, or those tools for you, then start crafting your own. And then when you have extras, sell them. Good for you. What you're not worried about so much when you're leveling is making money. Throw out everything I told you earlier about making the most efficient, cost-effective gathering and crafting out the window, because leveling is kind of like higher priority than making money. So you obviously need to make sure you have enough money on hand, so that you can continue to do this without running out of money. But you want to do the highest tier tasks you can, as most efficiently as you can. Look at the time. Look at how much you're able to get out of it. And another one is to try to get the fastest artisans possible on any of these. And by fastest, I mean even if it's a speed multiplier 0 like Hewa, if she's got a miracle worker on here, she's got a 20% chance to actually boost that production. So you can consider her like basically a 20% speed multiplier if you think about it. Convert that miracle worker to speed. Now this guy is automatically plus 25%, so he's preferable to Hewa if you've got him. If I were just leveling, I would not have Saren doing this. I would have her just sitting on the sidelines while Hewa was gathering, because she has no speed demultiplier, and she is a miracle worker. So again, that gives me basically a speed boost. At rank 3, there is you're going to see me focus on what do you call these, regions, I guess. The reason I don't look at end products, obviously you can sell these end products, but you don't get much money from these things anyway. It's really not worth it. But the reason I mention these end products is because you can use them later on to craft tools. So you're basically paying yourself doing that. Now, there's a couple tasks in here that are a little weird. You look at fish glue, for example, has a proficiency of 490, and it's not going to count towards your potion production because you need honey for that. Honey takes 510, but if one thing I've learned by experience is fish glue gives you more experience than honey. I don't know why. And it takes an hour and a half. This takes 2 hours. So craft fish glue when you're leveling. Again, you'll be able to use it later on to craft tools that you can sell on the auction house or use for yourself. Once you hit level 18 and you're actually starting to craft potions, switch over to honey. All right, and that way you'll start having a stockpile of that, because you're going to want a stockpile. And in the process, as you're leveling your delivery guys, also focus on beehive chips. But again, kind of keep an eye on what's next. So at rank tier 4, I guess, go for fish oil. You could do stuff like your anodyne, your stuff that help you with crafting proficiency, but better to just focus on these. They're less expensive to craft. The reagents for them are not super hard to get. They're, again, your big bottleneck leveling is going to be your delivery folks, because you can't use morale to craft quickly on those, so you don't level them quickly. They take however long they take, so you just want the very fastest delivery guys doing the best, the highest tier things you can do. The other thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to stay on this to see when they're ready to level up, and make sure to get them better tools as soon as possible. Don't leave them on iron alembics forever when you got a character that's higher level. If once you reach the tier that allows you to use a higher level tool, get that higher level tool, and if you can, get a +1 version of it. And even better, if you can craft up a bunch of these for yourself using one of your fully developed characters or workshops, and just craft up a bunch of extra tools, leave them with that character in their inventory, and just send them via mail, your in-game mail, to whatever characters need them. This guy doesn't have a very well organized workshop, and obviously I've wasted the Tinker's Training Manual because I've already maxed everybody out and I haven't used this. This is something you get for every single character that you're leveling up. Take advantage of this. Plus 50% Artisan Experience multiplier. There's actually supplements. There's more things like this you can get from events that are unbound. People will sell them on the auction house. If you're really, really motivated and you don't mind spending the AD, you could look for training manuals on the auction house if you want to level up. That might be actually something to focus on for your delivery guys. I guess they call them adventurers. So let's see if training manuals are in here. Oh yeah, so people are selling them. This one gives you plus 50%. This one gives you, I think, plus 100% for 5. That's a couple K. It's not bad. It's not bad if you're really in a hurry to level up any profession. You can use these guys. But hey, while we're talking about hurry to level up, they just had a double professions event, and boy did I can't say I royally screwed up. I just forgot that there is an aspect of that event that's not advertised, and that is your profession, your morale costs are cut in half. But what they don't tell you is your experience for crafting things is doubled during that time. So it takes you basically a quarter of the time to level as any other time. The absolute best time to level up your characters is to do it during double professions. And the reason I say I messed up is because basically I was just trying to be more efficient with this type of stuff when I was leveling up these professions. I was if I only had one, the ideal crafter, that's all I would use. I wouldn't just, I wasn't trying to put as much focus on it as I could. I was using the rest of the time to continue building, continue crafting these things if I could, and using my one extra crafter for this. Actually, I had just regular potion production going full time, and I was using morale only to level up. And yeah, I was getting some fast progression, but I was missing out on all of the stuff I could have been doing if I just had them crafting full time, doing that only, just kind of skipping out on the gold production. So now that I've gone off on a tangent, just remember that double professions, man. If you're still leveling, or you manage to catch, you see it coming up real soon in the future, and you want to level something up, it might be worth your time to focus really highly on that. Where was I going to go with this? Oh, deliveries. Let's see. So again, your delivery folks can use supplements like this. And I would recommend taking advantage of it, because this is bound to character. I have actually maxed out every single character in here. If I do get a new character, a new application for an artisan that I want, generally if it's a rare or an epic artisan, they are usually maxed out at whatever level, the max level you have for the profession. Rare ones, they're common ones, not necessarily. They're within a couple ranks. So like, because I have every profession at rank 20 right now, I could get a rank 18 artisan, and I could still use that supplement here to help level them up over time, but not super necessary. Generally, I don't generally, if I've forgotten to use that, it's probably never going to get used. So I'm going to try to edit out whatever is unnecessary in here and present this for now. I will hopefully get you some additional follow-on material soon. And that's all for now. Good luck, have fun. Dan Chan out.